Hey, I'm Obi and welcome to PanTap Fitness Escapes. In today's video, we're going to talk about the 3 reasons why you gain weight while on a fat loss plan when you go out to eat in restaurants and socialize with friends. Gonna be the obvious one, eating and drinking too much. So even though it's the most obvious, it's usually not really taken into account by most people when they go out to eat and drink. For obvious reasons, number one, you're not going to be in complete control of what goes into the meal, so you're not even going to be sure what you're eating. So on the menu it might sound great, but you don't know what ingredients have been used to actually produce that meal, which makes it very difficult to really gauge how many calories you're consuming. You want to make sure that you've got a fist, which I can't demonstrate right now because I need hands on the handlebar, but fist of carbs, fist of veggies, palm size of protein, and thumb size of fats, and that's in each meal. And then in terms of drinking, you're just gonna have to set a limit. For my clients, I always recommend 2 drinks a week for women and 3 drinks a week for men. This is just gonna have to be enforced using some self-control, some discipline, because if you don't, you're just gonna be standing still. There's gonna be 0 progress, and that in itself is gonna be even more frustrating. So it's just the lesser of 2 evils. Just go out to do what you set out to do, and this is the way of doing it. Within that, you can either go out less often, and then when you do go out, then you can just have free reign because you're not sort of having free meals or cheat meals often, so you can essentially just have whatever you want. So if you don't go out frequently, eat out frequently. However, if you want to eat out as often as you maybe are right now, then you're just going to have to enforce those limits each meal and each week, and that's going to be the only way you're going to be able to make progress at the same time. Another big reason for you gaining weight while on a fat loss plan and while eating out is carbs and salt causing unknown or some secret water retention. And this one can really screw with your head, even when you know the science and are expecting your body weight to go up because you have eaten out. It can really mess with your head because it's quite dramatic, the levels of water retention that can occur when you combine carbs and salt, which individually on their own can both be responsible for creating water retention, but when you combine the two, like, you can literally put on kilos, multiple kilos overnight. Carbohydrate intake can lead to water retention, and this is because of the way carbs are stored in our bodies. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, as some stored carbs do play a role in providing energy between meals, but some of the carbs you consumed are stored in the form of glycogen, and for every 1 gram of carbs stored in the body as glycogen, there is approximately 2 to 3 grams of water retained. Glycogen is stored in your liver and muscles, where it can quickly turn into glucose to provide energy for when you need it. Molecules of glycogen contain water, and therefore the more glycogen you store, the more water you retain in the process. This bodily process explains why when people go on diets or restrict carbohydrate intake, they tend to see an initial weight loss, and that's just actually a water weight loss. And that's explained because of the depletion of muscle glycogen. And this is why when somebody commences a low carb diet, they appear to lose weight really quickly according to the scales, but all they're really doing is just depleting muscle glycogen and therefore losing fluid. So this is an actual weight loss, and it tends to rebound within a few days or weeks. Which then takes us on to the secret progress killer, that is sodium or salt. So salt is made of sodium and chloride. So sodium binds to water in the body and helps maintain the balance of fluids both inside and outside of cells. So if you eat meals that are high in salt, such as processed foods, your body may retain water, and that's just not limited to your quote unquote processed foods, like your obviously red flag meals. In a lot of restaurants, you'll find that they use salt just to season and flavor the food. So even though it might be a high-end restaurant and a high quality menu, just because their main priority is taste of food, then they're gonna really go in hard with that sodium. So even though it looks like you've had a great meal and made some great choices, because you don't know what's gone into the meal, you can never be sure. The most common advice for reducing water retention is to decrease sodium intake. However, the evidence behind this has been mixed. But essentially, if you prep all your meals yourself, then you know what's going in and what exactly you're consuming, and that's really the end of the confusion at that point. Number 3 is emotion. Emotion is like that sneaky assassin to your good intentions. If you don't have your emotions not necessarily under control, because you're not a robot, but if you're not aware of what your emotions are doing and the decisions your emotions are making you make, then you're gonna be a slave to them. You all make decisions emotionally and then sort of backwards rationalize afterwards. And that's with everything. When you decided to lose weight, you did so because you wanted to feel better about yourself for whatever reason. Everybody's got their own reasons, whether it's they want to be faster, stronger, leaner, more attractive, more confident. But usually those reasons are founded in an emotion that you want to feel. To manage your emotions, you want to make a list. So you want to make 2 lists actually. List number 1 is a list of reasons why you should continue to eat healthily. List number 2 is a list of reasons why you shouldn't continue to eat healthily. So basically the pros and cons and the benefits of both decisions. The reason that you would actually have both lists is because it's not always rosy losing weight. It's not always like the right thing to do for everybody, you know? So you might be somebody who thinks that losing weight is great, but then every time you do it or attempt it, it fails for some reason or another. Maybe it's actually just not for you. Maybe you're actually very happy with your current body composition. Getting this in written form actually helps you really sort of get everything out of your head, brain dump on a sheet of paper, 2 columns, and then you can really break down and see for yourself the reasons why you do what you do when it comes to fat loss. And you'd be quite surprised sometimes actually what comes out if you really make an exercise of it and do a good 10-minute exercise and just really sort of go deep. Every time you write something, write why, and just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper, and you'd be surprised what comes out. As often as you can, you want to do the next 3 things. So number 1 is be grateful. So be grateful for the progress that you've made so far. A lot of people are always thinking forwards to the next thing, to the next kilo or pound they're gonna lose. And you might have been doing this for a few weeks or months or years already and made a ton of progress all by yourself, and you just forget about it and you just want the next thing and the next one and the next one and the next one. And you can actually drive yourself crazy and make yourself feel very unhappy with the great amount of progress you've made up to this point. And even if you haven't started before or tried to start a fat loss plan before, initiated one before, the fact that you're even watching this video or in the search or on the hunt for more information means you've taken a step forward. That's progress. Don't always think of the end goal, because to be honest, chances are there isn't going to be that final destination where you just sit back like, I made it. Like it's just not gonna happen. You're gonna get different interests. The longer you train, you might start looking into strength training, you might start looking into calisthenics, you might start looking into Olympic lifting. You're gonna find a different track once you get close to your fat loss goals. Sometimes you might not even get to the very end goal that you set, but you get 3/4 of the way and you look at yourself and you're like, oh shit, actually I quite like what I'm looking at in the mirror. It wasn't the numbers that I had down on paper, but the reality is actually better than I expected at this point, so I'm done. And obviously you're not just gonna quit the gym and just start eating whatever you want, because you've had set habits now for a while, so it's gonna be very hard to just drop them, and you wouldn't even want to just drop them. You've put in so much work up to this point, so why stop? So be grateful for the progress that you've made. No matter how little or small it is, you've got to recognize your own progress, and that is very important, because you can end up beating yourself up into a frenzy for no reason at all. Number 2 is to have some positive self-talk, because sometimes what you'll find is you're not always gonna make progress. It's not, every day isn't just gonna be like, yep, check, smashed it, killed it. Like, you're not gonna be able to just do that every single week. There are gonna be weeks when you go out to eat a meal with some friends and you just kind of blow it, or even you just kind of don't even feel like it. And rather than say, forget this isn't a plan for me, like I can't do this is so hard, just think, okay, cool, I'm gonna chill on this one, but then be very honest with yourself. Don't just say this, but I'll do this next time. I'll do it next time. I'll control my calorie intake to 2 drinks or 3 drinks next time, definitely guaranteed. And then just keep it positive, then move on. Don't dwell on it if you've made a mistake, because again, you're just gonna get into that negative cycle and you're not gonna feel good about what you're doing and about the efforts that you're making, and you're gonna focus on one tiny mistake that you've made and then blow it out of proportion and just throw everything out and quit, which is just completely pointless. And when you put things in perspective, you'll realize that one little slip up is just insignificant. even if it's a big slip up, it's like one event out of many. Like, nobody cares. It won't even matter. So you've got to be able to have positive self-talk. And then the final one is get around people with similar goals to you. You need to, it's very hard to be an island and try and make progress in anything all by yourself. It's a very difficult thing that you're trying to achieve, and naturally you're gonna have low points and high points, and in those low points you're gonna need some people around you to pick you up and just basically just distract you, so you don't just start feeling sorry for yourself and start listening to that negative voice that is still gonna be there no matter how positive you wanna be or try to be. That voice is gonna probably be the first voice that jumps in. You've just gotta cut it short, same thing, you know what I'm trying to say, and then just move on to the next thing. And that's very easy to do when you've got people around you to boost your self-esteem and to just let you know that, to keep things in perspective. Thank you guys for watching. If you found this helpful and you are planning on traveling at some point in the near future, share this video with the person you're traveling with so you can both level up together. See you in the next one.